Hello, and welcome to the From the Shadows podcast. I am the producer, Jason Lewis. I would like to thank you for tuning in to the From the Shadows podcast, and without further ado, here is your host, Shane Grove.
Hey, welcome everyone to the From the Shadows podcast. I am your host, Shane Grove, and I'm joined today with super producer Jason.
Greetings.
Special guest today, all the way from the Lake of the Ozarks, the one and only Ozark Howler.
Here I am.
Folks, can you hear the pure joy and anticipation in his voice?
You know, I was trying to think of a good intro. How I can't do it. First of all, my kids are upstairs, so they make fun of me. Okay, because they're home. It's COVID-19, right? So everything is shut down, and I've got this household of kids that don't think I'm funny at all. So I'm struggling with that.
Oh, so you're a member of the club too.
Oh yeah, right.
So our very special guest, other than the Howler today, is a co-founder of the Tri-C Ghost Hunters, Greg Feketik.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. How you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. Can't complain.
Can't complain. Well, there's no point in complaining, right? Because you got to do
Nope.
it. We got to do it in our own house.
Yeah, that's
and
right. Nobody can see us.
nobody cares in our own house. We're all in this together.
This is true.
So Greg, tell us before Let's just get into it. You're a paranormal investigator.
Correct, yes.
And so tell us a little bit about the Tri-C Ghost Hunters, and go ahead and give your wife all the credit for being the real founder of the group. Here's your chance.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, we are based out of Ohio. I believe we're one of the largest teams, if not the largest team in Ohio. Right now, we have 40 members. We are based out of Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, hence Tri-C.
Yes.
We formed in 2013, and we've been growing ever since. We are the resident paranormal team at the historic and world-famous Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield.
Oh, cool. Jason and I have spent a lot of time in the Ohio State Reformatory.
Yes.
Whether we liked it or not, we spent a lot of time.
I was going to say, hopefully it was after it was closed.
Yes, it was after it was
After
closed.
And how did you get that? How did you get that gig, being the resident paranormal group?
When I retired in 2011, I wanted something to do. And my wife and I first investigated the reformatory back in 2004. And I remember the first time I was there, I just fell in love with the place. And so did she. And it's like, you know what, we have to work here. So 2013, we both became volunteers there. 2 years ago, I was asked to be the lead paranormal investigator there. And they knew I had a team. So last year was our first year there as the resident team. So they asked me if we wanted to join forces to basically help with the paranormal program there. And I'm like, sure, of course. So we've got about 20-some members of our team who are volunteers there.
So you guys kind of put together, and lead the ghost hunts and stuff at the prison? Is that what you guys do?
Well, there are staff members that actually book the events. Me personally, I operate and run all of the private investigations there. There's a staff member there, Hallie. She is the one that books them all, but I'm the one that is actually there and does everything, gives the tours, and just assists groups.
Okay. And how many groups actually go through the prison on a year, on an average year, to do that sort of thing?
Last year I did about 40 or 50 private hunts. This year, obviously, it's kind of down. I do. My wife and I just did one last night, and it's funny because I remember when I was first talking with you and told you I probably wouldn't be able to do the interview until later. Found out last night or yesterday that our hunt was going to 5 a.m.
Oh,
and
geez.
that means it's an hour drive for us. So by the time we got to bed, it was like 6 o'clock, and and I just got up at 12:30.
Oh my God! So, okay, so I'm just to frame this. The Ozark Howler is our resident skeptic. Okay,
I am.
He definitely is. He has nothing. Doesn't believe in anything that except for God and the USA. That's all he believes in. Okay.
Now hold on a second. Now, not completely. There might be. I might sort of believe in ghosts, very little, but I certainly don't believe in Bigfoot and the Dog Man or any of that other weird stuff. But ghosts, I don't know yet. I'm still kind of out. You never know.
So
right?
you would believe in something from a spirit that's got to manifest itself somehow to show it, to be seen and to be heard or whatever, rather than just believe in some animal that's out there running around.
Well, yeah, because I told you if there was Bigfoot, a truck driver would have hit him already. Okay, that's the bottom line. They hit everything. But ghosts, now, I've been in some crime scenes where people are freshly dead, or an accident scene where people are freshly dead, and some of them are scarier than others, and you don't know why. Does that make sense? Like there's an energy there.
Yeah, there is an energy. I agree with that.
So I'm kind of out on that. Now I don't know if that is. I don't know if that. I just don't know how to. Why some scenes are worse than others.
Well, Greg. So you were on a ghost hunt last night. Anything interesting happen?
They had some things. I think they got a couple of EVPs. I think one of them actually saw a shadow figure, and I know they had something else go on because whenever they're out and they come back in, they always tell us. But right now it's I can't remember. Of course, I just got up just a little while ago. But you know what, Jeff? I hear and understand you, and I'm the first guy that if somebody comes to me saying that, hey, I saw this, or I heard this, or we captured this, I'm like, well, we got to look at the logical explanations first, because a lot of this stuff does have logical explanations, but then there are other things that I have captured or I have heard and seen that have no logical explanation. I'm not saying that it's ghosts or spirits from the other side. I'm just saying that I can't explain this.
Right.
And I always tell everybody that, it doesn't matter what your beliefs are. There are weird and strange things that happen that we have no logical explanation for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without question.
And that's what our platform is for, so we can delve into things like that and be able to open up and express with other people of like minds, and maybe we can get to the bottom of some of those things.
Yeah.
Or convince the Howler that his house is haunted.
Yeah.
And that Bigfoot is probably out in the tree line right now going, I'm going to get that sucker.
It's probably looking at it right now.
I doubt it, but we'll see.
Oh, jeez. The first guy that's going to hit Bigfoot in his truck is going to be the Howler. That's what I'm going to say.
I don't know. I'll drag it in the ditch and keep driving. I'll act like I didn't see nothing. Right.
You better throw it in the bed of the truck and drive straight to Ohio.
And call Jerry.
I was going to say, it must be an Ohio thing, because after meeting you guys, I didn't realize how prevalent the paranormal is in that Ohio, Indiana. Just draw a 300-mile circle around Cincinnati, and that's like the epicenter of all things weird or unexplained in America.
Well, Greg, you guys are based in Cincinnati too, right? You guys have members.
Oh yeah. You know what? And I agree with you. There are more places in the state of Ohio that you can actually book a private ghost hunt investigation than any other state. I've been doing research on just that. Where can teams and people go to do a private investigation? You rent it out like the Ohio State Reformatory. And I came up with about 115 locations in the United States, and about 27 of those places are located in Ohio.
I can't believe there's only 115 in the whole United States.
Now, those are the ones that I have found by doing research online, by asking people on Facebook, and just finding out what other locations there are. There's probably more, but the point being is that out of that 115 or 20, whatever, is Ohio has the majority of them. I think the next closest state had like 12.
Now you guys,
and why do you think that is?
You know what? We just did a presentation at Wizard World up in Cleveland a few weeks ago, and that was one of the questions that was asked us. And I really don't have an answer. I've heard people say, well, there's a lot of Native American land here. There's a lot of rivers and streams, but hey, so do other states. Have that. We've got a big population. There's probably just a bunch of different reasons that when you add them all together, Ohio is the hot spot. And other hot spots would be, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Kentucky. It's like this whole Midwest here is extremely haunted compared to other states and other cities. And we do have one of the most haunted cities in America, being Athens, Ohio.
Well, if you're going
to...
Why? Well, that's where they have the big Halloween.
Ohio.
Yeah, it is.
That's where they have the big Halloween every year. Halloween get together for OU, right?
Yeah,
right,
they do.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Well, if you're gonna, throw out there, about the Native Americans and stuff like that, wouldn't that Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana be like the first big push that America or the frontiersmen or whatever made into the inland of what became the United States? And maybe there's a lot of tragedy,
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
That came.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I mean, of course, there's a lot more tragedy when it came to the Native Americans and stuff like that across. But I mean, it's just maybe
the Trail of Tears and everything. There was a lot of tragedies that happened throughout history along the way during the settling times of America. But I think having such a conglomeration in a centralized area such as Northwest Ohio here can attribute to a lot of the energies we have being positive or negative. I mean, you can't deny it. There's a lot of paranormal activity and a lot of unexplained things that happen in our area.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder if that first push into the interior of the United States, stopping here for a little bit before they, maybe that contributed to the bad energy, good energy, whatever it is.
Yeah, it might have.
Oh yeah.
So Greg, you guys aren't going to places when you go investigate that are open to the public, most generally, right? You guys are going and doing private homes and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah, we get a lot of requests for private residence investigations. This year alone, we receive on average about 3 a week to do private homes.
Now, do you is there a process in which you determine, okay, this is, now, if somebody's coming to you and upset about maybe something going on, everybody's got to be considered, but do you vet some of that stuff and say, okay, this is not really worth our time, or we don't, or you just are open to going and checking everybody out?
Well, you can learn a lot from the interview, which we mostly do over the phone. I mean, sometimes what the people are telling us, we'll have logical explanations, and for those, you will be basically say, just keep a log of what's going on, keep in touch with us. But right now it doesn't sound like it warrants an investigation. Some people, a lot of the times there is underlying mental issues that you can tell when somebody contacts you. There are other times where, especially if it's a close to a couple team members, we'll do what we call our pre-investigation. We will go over there, it's, any time during the day or evening, and spend about an hour and a half talking with the owner, going throughout the house, seeing if we cannot find logical explanations for what they're experiencing. After that, if we determine that it needs a full-blown investigation, then we'll proceed with that. But a lot of them, believe it or not, can have logical explanation.
Yes, and Greg, when you do have these home visits, and after your preliminary investigation and you warrant for a full investigation, when it's all said and done, how do you respond to the person that lives into the house? Do you provide them with a report of your findings and what is contained into that report? Or do you just discuss with them on the possibilities and try not to lead them in a certain direction, but just let them know that, yeah, we experienced something too, so they know that they're just not crazy?
Right. And a lot of people just want validation that they're not crazy.
Right.
We can do reports. Now, reports are not done on every case. We do. And you know what? And we tell them the truth. We don't hold anything back. If we experience anything, if we capture any evidence, we'll let them listen to it. And you'd be surprised about how many people kind of want their homes to be haunted. We've had people, tell us that we don't care what you say, we know our home is haunted. It's like, oh, okay. We can accept that.
Yeah.
And then there's others that are relieved because they don't want it to be haunted.
Well, I mean, it's probably one of two things. If you know, as the homeowner, that, okay, all this stuff's happening, and you come in and say it's not haunted, then they're like, man, I must be crazy. I mean, that would, but if you come in and say, yeah, okay, well, at least I'm not crazy. I don't know what else to do.
And for those situations too, a lot of those cases are where they'll just get weird feelings in a room, like they're being watched, or they don't like a particular area. It's nothing concrete, like, hey, this door opened and slammed, or, I saw that fly across the room. It's more of a vague, general feeling that their house may be haunted. And for those cases, what we find the majority of the time is that there is a high electromagnetic field in the home.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is everything pretty much throws off an EMF field. Man-made electrical appliances.
Yes.
Fans, ceiling fans, clock radios, those are, or a table fan, those are notorious for throwing off high EMF. We've had cases where there was a clock radio on the nightstand next to the bed, and then they had a pedestal fan on the other side of the bed, and the EMF in that area would be extremely high. You don't want anything to be over like 2.0 milligauss. Anything over that can be considered harmful, and continued exposure can cause medical problems. We've been to some places where it's, 70.0 milligauss. I remember one place we did, it was like 180.
Oh my God.
And continued exposure to that can cause hallucinations, paranoia, nausea, feeling of illness. So if somebody's always feels like they're sick or ill, that can be a cause. And plenty of cases where we've gone in, we're like, holy you need to get rid of that fan, get rid of that clock radio. You may want to, call an electrician and, check the wiring, because, your whole house is what I call a fear cage.
See, I get that same feeling every morning when I go to work at the post office, but I don't believe, though, that it has anything to do with high EMF. That's I suspect it's something.
Hey, since you mentioned that, another thing is this 5G network that's going around everywhere. It's a smaller tower, but it's a lot more powerful. You find them on the side of buildings and whatnot, and people are experiencing those same type of phenomenon. And I think that it's because of this 5G conversion.
And it's possible. I believe there's still studies out there with cell phones. What kind of long-term effect are they going to have on us? You're holding this wireless device up to your head, and there's signals that are going to that device. I mean, what is that doing to our brains? Yeah, I mean, in the paranormal field too, anything's possible. Logically or not. And who knows? And that's why when we do come in, we do have different meters that we can check for, different causes of, electromagnetic field interference.
Right.
Now, I don't know how specific you can get, but let's tell us the scariest place in Ohio that you've gone and investigated. We'll get back to the reformatory, but just like a private residence or another, a business or something that you guys went and investigated. Was there any place that you ran out screaming, or had to change your shorts? Okay.
There was one place that I did not like, and I wanted to run out of there screaming.
Oh, okay.
I kept telling myself, how can these people live here? It was a small private home in a suburb of Cleveland, and we went there. Our clients were experiencing a bunch of stuff. They would hear footsteps coming from the second floor. A rocking chair in their living room would be rocking on its own. They would hear voices. They would see shadows. Just a lot of your typical, haunting manifestations. And we went there, and I did not like the house at all. There was something about it, but there was no high EMF. So now that gets you, okay, if there's no high man-made EMF, and you're getting high EMF on your meters, that could possibly indicate that there is some energy there that is not man-made.
Right.
Now, as far as it was, terrifying, it wasn't really terrifying. I just did not like it. At the top of the stairs, I did not like it, and I just wanted to run down the stairs screaming. We actually captured a lot of evidence from the house. One of the things, my wife and I were down in the basement with the male owner of the house, and she was sitting down there, and there was an area where they had seen shadows. He would be down on the treadmill, and he would look, and there'd be a shadow standing there watching him. So my wife was down there, and she basically said, if there's anybody here, can you cause something to fall over? Immediately, something in the back of the basement fell over. It's kind of freaked her out at the time. I mean, she didn't panic. We went and tried to figure out what it was. We couldn't. Upstairs, we had a couple other investigators in the daughter's room. I think she was probably about 6 or 7. They were sitting there doing their investigating, and they heard something fall in the room. They turned around, said, can you do that again? Well, while they're talking, something pushes him from behind. We got all this on video, and you can see him lurch forward and said, something just hit me on my shoulder.
Well, that's like poltergeist activity almost.
Yeah, yeah. And then the craziest thing is that they got up and they were trying to figure out what had happened, and they're talking amongst themselves. And when we went back and reviewed the video and the audio, we captured this crazy EVP. And EVP is electronic voice phenomenon. Voice is captured on recording devices. You don't see it here at the time.
Right.
We went back and listened to that, and there's, clear as day, an old man's voice that says, "How's it going?" Loud.
Oh my goodness.
And we're like, holy crap. It's not your typical EVP. Typical EVPs are real, soft.
Right.
Like, that's me. Stuff
Right,
like
yeah.
that. This one was just, "How's it going?"
Well, if the dude had enough energy to push somebody in the shoulder, he must have been jacked up. He had plenty of energy to speak loud.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, this one was so clear that when we went back to the homeowners after our review and we did the reveal, we let her hear that, and she goes, "That's strange because my deceased grandfather used to always say, 'Hey, how's it going?'" So we brought that recording to her mom and her uncle, and they both were able to identify the voice as their deceased father.
Wow.
Okay.
And after that, when we knew who it was, we basically told them, "Stop it. They know you're here. You're scaring the family. You need to stop." That was back in 2011. We still keep in touch with them. They haven't had a problem since.
Really? So did he die there, or did he just?
No, he did not die there. And a lot of people think that you have to die, or a place has to have a death to be haunted. We used to manage a haunted hospital in the Cleveland area, an abandoned haunted hospital. That was one of the most active places that we've ever experienced. But it wasn't patients that we were encountering. It was former employees, doctors and nurses. And a lot of these places, too. I mean, my wife and I lived in a haunted house. We just sold it a couple months ago.
Did you disclose that it was a haunted house before?
No, because there's no such things as hauntings. So,
Right.
So it's not. Now, if there was a murder there, I mean, we would have to disclose that.
Right.
But hauntings it's not real. It doesn't happen. So,
Right.
You do not have to disclose that. At least that's what the realtor told me. Because I did tell him.
The judge, who's not with us today, he has confirmed that on a couple of different episodes where, hey, look, there's no, you don't have to tell
I
anybody.
looked it up after that when you first told us that. Yeah, you don't have to.
Now the Howler has a definite opinion on ghosts. Like, if he was a ghost, what was it, Howler? You said you wouldn't be going back to some abandoned hospital. You'd be.
No, I'd hang out. Are you kidding me? You'd be hanging out David Geffen's boat or something. I mean, why would you? I mean, come on. Why would you hang out there? I'd be hanging out at Tom Brady's house, post party or something. I don't know why you would want to haunt some terrible place.
Because in all my years of investigating, we find that there are certain places that are the most active: prisons, hospitals, schools, theaters. A lot of emotional energy in all those places. Maybe, and there's several theories. It could be residual, which means it's not somebody from the other side that's coming back. It's just like a tape recorder that, plays over and over. Or it's just maybe that they're drawn there because that's, a lot of people love their jobs. When they pass away, that's where they go. That's what is familiar to them. And I mean, we have no idea, what happens to us when we pass. Do we want to go sit back someplace that we're familiar with, that we enjoyed? I mean, who knows? But it seems that there's a lot of energy. And, the theaters, and there's no tragic deaths that happen. Yeah, you always got the legend.
Abe Lincoln
comes to mind.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a lot of bad movies that have died on the big screen.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, the bad movies.
Right. But we got a lot of haunted theaters around Ohio. The haunted prisons, the haunted hospitals. It's in my belief is that there's so much energy there, and so many people have come and gone through those locations that it's almost ripe for a haunting.
Well, I'm going to be severely disappointed if 50 years from now somebody figures out that I'm haunting the post office in Bucyrus. I mean, I am not going to be happy. And I think Jason probably feels the same way about where he works.
Yeah, I will
but I
not
mean,
be haunting the prison.
But it makes sense though in that instance where the grandpa or would come back and want to be around his family and his great grandkid, right? Right?
Yeah,
that makes perfect
yeah.
sense.
And keep an eye on them and just kind of, I mean,
his natural love for his family, he would naturally want to reach out to him. But if it's having a negative effect, and you had to tell him to stop, and so he probably complied easily. Say, hey, I'm not here to hurt him. I'm here to just watch over him. So
but hold on a second. But if you got Alzheimer's before you succumb, does your ghost really know where he's at?
Yes, I believe so, because all the earthly ailments when you die are supposedly they're gone.
But now wait a sec. They also say if you are a jerk in real life, you're still going to be a jerk in the afterlife.
Yeah, but you'll be a healthier jerk.
Because they say if your personality is one way in real life, it doesn't change.
Yeah, we've had guests that there are more than one guest.
But you're saying you'd be
I agree with that. Like the Reformatory. They can do some mean things there.
And that's what we've heard. We had one of the tour guides.
Yes.
She was on and told us some very interesting stories about a shadow person following her home. I was there. We shot a music video with David Allen Coe. I don't know how many years ago it was, 4 or 5. And the tour
I was there with you guys.
Oh, you were there with us?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, yeah. So the lady tour guide was telling us about a couple different instances where people saw her in the prison, in parts of the prison where she wasn't. And they figured out that the whatever spirit was mimicking her and showing itself to people as her. And I mean, that was some of the freakiest stuff. Are you familiar with those stories from that?
I can't. Doppelgangers.
The doppelganger, yes.
Yeah. There are numerous stories out of there.
Well, tell us a couple good ones.
It's just, I haven't experienced anything, but it's just like, what you say, a staff member or volunteer will be one area and they'll see another staff member. And then they'll go to like the other side of the prison or back into the lounge and there's a staff member there. And they're like, how the hell did you get here so quick? And they're like, I've been here all the time. It's stories like that. There's nothing, sinister about them. It's just, when you find out, you're like, oh, crap. What did I just see? My personal opinion is I don't think doppelgangers are anything to be fearful of. It's just freaky at the time.
Well, what makes me wonder what would possess a spirit?
Who knows?
What's there to gain? I don't even know. If somebody needs energy, if a spirit needs energy to manifest itself, how much energy would it need to manifest itself as somebody else, to look like somebody else?
It's one of those things that nobody has an answer for.
Right.
A lot of this stuff, everybody's got theories and everything, but it's just a theory.
Right.
Nobody has a definitive answer. If that was the case, we would know everything.
Right.
Who knows? It could be some, unknown natural phenomenon,
No, there's nothing natural about that.
Well, like in situations where it's not a complete manifestation and you have people that reported experiencing a cold spot in the room, maybe they'll trace that cold spot and it might appear to be the shape of an upper torso.
By the way, Jason's explaining experience he had at the prison.
Without saying so, yes. Yeah, exactly. Okay, cat's out of the bag. Yes, exactly. So it did not manifest itself, but I was able to night and day difference trace a cold spot in the shape of an upper torso, head and shoulders, down to about the waist. I have no explanation for that whatsoever. And we're talking this dank, very humid, warm, because this was like in the middle of summer. I think it was either late July or August situation where it's hot, it's hard to breathe, and then I can only say it's akin to if you stand in front of a refrigerator on a hot day and open up the freezer part with your eyes closed, you can feel that coolness. Without even, you don't have to see it, but you know it's there with your eyes closed. That is the difference which I felt. But I was able to trace that coolness and trace out an upper torso with the head. And like I said, down to about the waist before I got pulled away from the area. And I have no explanation to that to this day.
No, yeah, we do get cold spots and like you said, I've had experiences up in the West Attic, which in the summer it's stifling hot up there, and all of a sudden you're just overwhelmed in this. At least for me, I couldn't trace a body. I had something happen. Basically, when people go up to the West Attic, one of the main things that happens is people will see like balls of light coming in from the chapel area. We even have volunteers who bring their chairs and will sit down at the end of the attic and watch the show.
Like the orbs, like in orb type fashion.
A visible orb. And, I'm one of these guys that's like, I can't see them. They're like, here comes one now. I'm like, where? And they're like, there it is. I'm like, I freaking can't see it. So one time I went closer to the chapel. I forget how far I was away from them, and they were saying, okay, when you guys see the orbs, let me know. And they're like, here comes one down on the left side. I'm like, I can't see it. Anyways, they keep seeing them and I can't. And this next orb I did see. And the best way to describe it is it was like a shooting star or a lightning bolt. We all saw it. There were 9 of us up there, and it hit one of my pieces of equipment that I had sitting on a piece of ductwork. I mean, it comes shooting out there, hit my piece of equipment, exploded in this golden flash of light. And immediately after that, everything around me turned ice cold. And this was in the summer, and it gets hot up there, and just ice coldness. And I'm like, okay, I'll go back to where the living people are now. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
so.
Extraordinary.
Isn't the attic though just pitch black? Like it's pitch black. There's no light up there, right? Is that what
there's very, very faint ambient light coming from the chapel area. I mean, you can see the doorway into the chapel, but yeah, way back there, it's pitch black. But what's really weird too, I was back there one time, and there again, I had this coldness that kept walking around me. I think, Jason, you were talking about the torso.
Yes.
Well, I was there, and I have on my keychain, the lanyard, I've got a glow-in-the-dark ghost, and I had some guests up there, and they kept seeing my ghost disappear, like something was blocking it out. Well, at that same time, I kept feeling this ice coldness walking around me. It would be in the front, and then on the side, and then in the back. And then, the first time I've ever experienced this, I experienced the blacker than black, the darker than dark. It's dark up there where you can't see your hand in front of your face, but this time it was almost like somebody put a dark hooded hood over me. I mean, it was so dark. I could not explain it, and I mean, I couldn't see anything. which was kind of cool and freaky at the same time. I've never experienced that. I've heard people talk about it, and I'm like, how can it get darker than dark up here? But it did.
Now, does anything come with that other than just the darker? Or you make yourself feel something, or do you just, you know what I'm saying? I mean, is there a energy, or is there hot or cold, or?
Well, at that time, it was the coldness that was walking around me.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, and then the darkness came,
So
which is.
Are you saying that if we can get the Ozark Howler to Ohio, that we could come over to the prison, and you could set him up in a chair in the attic, and the chances are he may indeed see a light show?
Yeah, a lot of people they do see them. I mean, we tell people, go up into the attic, and they come down.
I don't know if that's the best thing for us to plan.
We're going to make a believer out of you yet, Mr. Howler.
So okay, so that stuff right there is enough that I would not ever go into the prison at night on a go. But is there anything like next level that's really, really frightens you in any part of the prison?
Yeah. It's
before he leaves this area, this chapel area has been known by many of the people that volunteer and work there, officers that used to work there, that have toured the place since their retirement. There is a lot of activity near that chapel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
right. Near, no, I agree with you. Near the chapel. For me personally, I find the chapel calming. I will go up there and sit by myself. I have no problem with that. But two areas around the chapel, the west attic and the third floor admin, are extremely active. And the west attic and the third floor, you got to be careful. You got to be careful about what you say. I'm a retired police officer, and I let them know that I'm a retired police officer, but I treat them with respect. When I'm opening up or even closing after a hunt, I will talk with them, saying thank you, and you guys do good. Just stupid stuff like that. But if you go in there and decide you want to challenge or provoke, they have the upper hand because they can see us and we can't see them. I want photographs of people who have been physically attacked and scratched on the third floor and in the attic. In fact, the last couple just happened within the last several weeks. And the crazy thing about this is that the people that were provoking or challenging were not the ones who were attacked.
Oh.
It was somebody in their group. And I always tell people, do not challenge, do not provoke, unless you want to suffer, the consequences. And the one case was there was a group of 6 people. They've never investigated the prison before, let alone did an investigation. They were in a room called the chair room, which is up on the 3rd floor, just down from the chapel. And the saying goes, if you sit in the chair there, things will happen. You'll hear voices, the chair will vibrate, you'll hear growling and stuff like that. There was a woman, she was sitting in the chair and she felt something touch the side of her face, which freaked her out. So she got out of the chair, and somebody else in the group went and sat down, and he started challenging and provoking. Just a couple minutes after that, they're still up in the chair room, and she starts feeling a burning sensation on her back. So this was cold, so she had her winter coat on and everything, and they took off her coat and pulled down her shirt, and she had 2 bright red welts that were forming just underneath her neck, going down her back.
Wow.
When I see that stuff on people, Now I understand, like if it's on television, okay, maybe they did it for TV for effect.
Right.
But if you're not going to be on television and it's just a private group, why would you subject yourself to getting scratched or punched for the sake of effect?
Because they don't believe it.
Well, but no, what I'm saying is you're not faking that. That's something that actually,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I could see on TV where they might fake that to make it seem like it's more dangerous or scary. Mm-hmm. But if you're in a group, I mean, I'm not letting Jason slug me in the side of the face just so I can walk out.
Yeah, walk out and say,
oh,
hey,
I
got hit by a ghost. You know? Yeah,
I mean,
something, yeah.
Right. And, that's why I don't, they're not faking it. And when they came down, I mean, you could tell she was scared, and she could not reach around to do these scratch marks. And right after that, they decided that they were going to leave. And I tell them, I said, do not provoke, do not challenge. And you get some people, they don't believe anything's going to happen. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, obviously, but, it does happen. We've had it happen a couple times in the last several weeks.
Now that we're kind of talking about this, it makes me wonder, so we were in there filming Escape from Death Block 13. Yeah. And I know I can't give away too much, but I know there was a fight scene in the chapel. Mm-hmm. There was a fight. We did some fight scenes, big fight scenes in the basement type of area. Yeah. I wonder if the spirits or the energies there are seeing that stuff happen and maybe thinking, man, wait a second, we're right back in it, because that might have been stuff that happened while they were earthly beings or whatever,
Now that's a take on it. I never thought about.
I wonder if the spirits and stuff are seeing that go on and kind of getting excited about. All right, now things are getting excited.
Well, at the very least, I'd say they probably absorb the energy from it. Wouldn't you say so, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like what you guys were doing is almost like doing a trigger object type effect, which investigators will use during their investigations. It's the same thing as like if you're investigating a place where there's a child ghost, people will bring toys and stuff like that to do a trigger object. Or like, if you investigate a Civil War area, building, sometimes we'll play Civil War music. It's the same thing. There were a lot of fights there, so you guys are doing a fight and recreating. I mean, we got people that'll bring cigarettes in or playing cards or, any of those vices to try to trigger a response.
Well, I will tell you this. Like when we were there with David, he was obviously not, because we were worried. We talked to him before we took him back in there, like, are you going to be okay going back? Because we know that place was an awful place when he was there. And so he was fine going back in. He went, filmed part of the video actually in one of the cells that he had spent some time in. And bottom line afterwards, he said, like, look, there's nothing that could happen to me now in this prison, ghost-wise or spirit-wise, that is anywhere close to as bad as what happened when I was really here. And, and so that kind of puts it in perspective of it. What's going on now is probably not anywhere near as scary or horrifying or terrible as what happened when that place was really up and operating,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's like we always tell people, it's not the ghost that you need to be afraid of, it's the living.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we want to get to another thing that you gave us the news that the parapsychon, am I saying that right? I'm not saying it very smooth. The parapsychon that was scheduled for May 2nd and 3rd at the Ohio State Reformatory. You want to kind of fill us in on, number one, what that is and what's going on with it and what we have to look forward to maybe in the near future with that?
Okay. Every May, Tri-C Ghost Hunters hosts an event at the Ohio State Reformatory called the Parapsychon, Paranormal and Psychic Convention. Where this year we were going to have upwards of 80 different vendors, paranormal teams, authors, psychics, healers, jewelry, speakers, just a bunch of different events. We were having 9 celebrities there from the Travel Channel, and speakers and ghost hunts and gallery readings. But unfortunately, because of the coronavirus crisis that's going throughout Ohio and the U.S., our event was canceled for the safety of all our guests, because this year was going to be our biggest year. So we tried to reschedule it for like this summer, but Ohio State Reformatory has no free available weekends. So we had to cancel it this year and move it to 2021, which the dates are May 22nd and May 23rd of 2021.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that. We were looking forward to that. But,
it's a great event. And the cool thing about it is that it doesn't cost any extra money for our event. You pay your admission into the reformatory, and then our event is included in your admission. The speakers are included in your admission. The only thing that was extra was we were going to have Chip Coffee there, and he's was doing a gallery reading. You had to pay for that, and we were having a celebrity ghost hunt with all the celebrities. That was also extra. But unfortunately, everything had to be canceled. Which we were expecting that. It's like we were probably right on the verge, and even if it did go, the attendance would be totally way down because people would still fear, going out in public or being in large crowds.
Right.
So. And also, we don't want that for the vendors, because the vendors have to pay, for hotel, and they got to pay for their vendor table. And, if there's nobody there, they're not selling any products or services. So, they're losing money.
Sure, I understand.
Go ahead.
So by 2021, I just want to know, are the From the Shadows podcast crew going to be considered celebrities? And
only time will tell.
Only time will tell. If you got a current show on the Travel Channel.
I don't yet. I can't guarantee that I ever will have a show. I watch a lot of the Travel Channel.
Yeah, but we're not going to get a show. It'd be kind of nice if we did.
But no, that's cool. That's really cool. We've been talking about that. We were looking forward to getting out there and checking that out, and we'll definitely make those dates something that we can get to next year.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Sure.
Yes.
And I do have to say too that Tri-C Ghost Hunters, who are the host of the event, we don't keep any of the money that's made. Everything goes back into the Ohio State Reformatory. We were even doing a Harley Davidson motorcycle raffle to raise money for the reformatory. We also do a food drive during this event and a pet supply drive during our event, which everything gets donated.
Well, that's fantastic, because the prison, haunted or not, is a true local treasure. That's a real it's a draw, obviously. The fact that, the movies that come and use it, the music videos, just the people that come to the haunted houses. It's a real treasure for the community. And the
that
fact
structure is a castle.
Yeah. The fact that you guys can use it to help bring food, pet supplies, and, and the prison always, the upkeep, I can't even believe what the upkeep would be in that place. But they seem to do, everybody involved, including you guys, do a great job of promoting it and providing opportunities for people to enjoy it.
Oh yes.
Sure. Thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah. So before we, I also want to talk talk about. I did a little research. You've got a couple books that you've written.
Yes.
Would you like to tell our audience about those and where they can find them?
Oh, sure. I've written 2 books. The first one is called Insights into the Unknown: A Ghost Hunter's Journey. Second one is Roads into the Unknown: A Ghost Hunter's Journey Continues. And these are experiences during my investigations. These are not like other people's experiences. It's not like a travel guide or anything like that. These are actual experiences that my wife and I have experienced through our investigations. Now, my wife Kathy and I, we travel. We've been to Scotland investigating over there. We were planning a Ireland trip in October. That's put on hold now, obviously, because of everything's going on. We were going to be staying at haunted castles out there. But no, the book is basically all the locations that we've been to that had, crazy experiences. So it's, before, when I was on, podcasts or radio shows, they would always ask me, have you written a book? And I'm like, no, I haven't written a book. Well, it got to the point where I had enough material to write 2 books. So I will be writing a 3rd book, and it's basically going to be Not Everything is Paranormal.
Okay.
Because, there's a lot of paranormal books out there say, hey, this is happening and that. But, especially at the reformatory or even with other investigators, it's like, that's not paranormal. Just because a EMF device goes off or that device goes off, you get people that are like, oh my God, that it's crazy. It's like we had an experience. No, you did not have an experience. There's, even if people claim that they hear voices, that doesn't mean that it's paranormal. Or they heard footsteps coming from the 2nd floor. It doesn't mean it's paranormal. You got to know what is and what is not paranormal. And sometimes I do get frustrated that there's people have experiences and they're like, it's paranormal. And don't come to me with your experiences and expect me to believe you, because I'm going to be the first one to tell you, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you try to find a logical explanation? And you know what? If your EMF device goes on over in that particular area, I can tell you why. There's a large electrical panel underneath the floor. That's why your EMF's going off over there.
See, the more and more you talk about this, the more and more I think you can expand Tri-C into Tri-C and the Ozarks, ghost hunters, and the Howler out there could be the founding. I mean, he sounds like he'd be very thorough like you, and the first to question everything. And I think
my sister lives at Lake of the Ozarks in the summer.
Really?
Yeah. She's in Florida now, but they have a little, I guess you would call it, trailer cottage over there, and it's over. I can't even remember what part of the lake that
Rocky Mount or one of them nice places, I'm sure.
No. And I know there's there's a lot of bars along the lake there, and I know they go to this one bar all the time that they can actually see from their place. So I can't even remember the name. It's in like one of those little coves.
Right. Interesting.
I don't know. I think this maybe could be the start of the first branch.
Chemistry's there.
Yeah, the first branch.
There's no ghosts down here. That's the problem. They're all still living.
They're all
still living. You know what they do is if there is a ghost, he certainly finds a livable host, and
are you saying there's
walks around?
Are you saying that they possess? It's more of a possession than a haunting?
Yes,
okay.
yes. People can't look for ghosts here because there's too many possessed people to get through. You never get that far.
Well, Greg, before we sign off here, give everybody your info so they can follow you guys and look for announcements on the Parapsychon for 2021. When, if somebody's got a house or got a residence, I know you guys have a notice up there that you're not doing anything right now because of the coronavirus, but maybe if somebody has something they want you to investigate in the future, or if they want to find out more about coming to the prison and doing a ghost hunt, give them the info.
Okay. Our website, the Tri-C Ghost Hunters website, is tcghohio.org. And through that website, too, you can go to my personal website where it has my books up there, and you can get my books on Amazon. And also we have information about the Parapsychon up there. So if you go up there, you can check it out, what we have planned for this year. Hopefully we'll have the same stuff planned for next year. The Ohio State Reformatory, their website is mrps.org. Mansfield Reformatory Preservation Society. And then you can learn about the public and private hunts and day tours and everything that they have going on.
All right.
That sounds great. And for next year's show, as the date becomes closer, we're going to promote that and tell our fans about it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yes,
We'll definitely schedule you back on so we can, really promote that and talk about it. And hopefully
that would be great.
Hopefully the big announcement will be that the MCs of the event are the From the Shadows podcast.
That would be a surprise for everybody.
All right. Well, hey, Greg, thank you for getting up after a long night. Hopefully you can maybe catch some Z's here this afternoon. And we appreciate you joining us. And stay safe, man. Stay safe.
Yeah, it was great being here. Yeah, you guys stay safe and healthy, and let's hope we get through this thing sooner than later.
Oh, yes.
Yes. All right. Absolutely. Well, hey, Greg, thanks for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, a final word. Please visit us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/From the Shadows Podcast, and on our Instagram page at instagram.com/From the Shadows Podcast. You can visit our webpage at FromTheShadowsPodcast.GoDaddySites.com, or contribute to our Facebook discussion page called After the Shadows, and tweet us on our Twitter feed at twitter.com/podcast_from. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you all. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.